Hi, it's Paul, and we're back with more Microsoft project tips and tricks and tutorial. Last time I talked a little bit about putting some budget information into your project, and I think I talked about saving the baseline, but we're going to do that again. I actually save the baseline fairly frequently, and now I'm going to get into resource management. Resource management for project managers is very important, and there are tools in Microsoft Project that let you do resource management right in the software, but they're a little tricky. So I usually recommend that you don't do resource management in Microsoft Project, but I'm going to show you a little bit about how to do it, and I'll show some of the pitfalls that you might run into, and we'll take it from there. Okay, here's my milling machine installation project, and I'm going to add a new column called resource. As I mentioned before, these columns, they all exist all of the time. They're all interlinked, and all you're doing by adding and removing columns is you're just displaying them or not displaying them. And the key there is they're all linked. If you're working in Microsoft Excel, you can have different columns and they can be doing different things, and you can link them or you can not link them, and you have full control. With Microsoft Project, everything is linked and you can't unlink them. So you have to kind of understand what's going on. All right, so here's my project, and I'm going to start typing in some resources. So for quotes, that's going to be an administrative person. So I'll type admin, place order, same thing. And I just have to type the first letter and it puts it in. And then maybe hiring a forklift as an admin, moving it to the site, that's maybe a mechanic. So I'll type mechanic, same with leveling, paying the shipping is admin. So far so good. It's going pretty quick, and you can see in my Gantt chart it's displaying the resources automatically. So let's just do a few more. Foundation, let's say that's a contractor. Electrical, that's an electrician. And I only have to spell it correctly once, and then I just keep using it. Plumbing, that's a plumber. And let's go down a little bit. Inspections, let's say PM, the project manager is going to do these inspections. Check utilities, so that's the project manager and the electrician. And I use tab there to automatically enter it, which kind of works. And let's say the mechanic is involved in that too. Reviewing the manual, let's do PM on that, project manager. Testing operations, that's an operator. And maintenance training, well, let's use our electrician and mechanic and our plumber. So we'll get all the tradespeople in there for training and operator for operator training. Okay, I've got all my resources in there, and at this point it's just text information. There's no attributes, there's no dollar amount, there's no numbers of people. And for a lot of project management, that's enough. We can just take it to this point, and that's all we need to do. But you can do more if you want. So let's take a look at doing more. Before I go further, I should save the baseline. So I'll go up here to Project and Set Baseline, and I want to save it. Generally, anytime I add in another task or I change a task, I generally need to resave the baseline, because at this point I'm not doing project tracking, I'm setting up the project. Okay, so we've got our information. We're still at 574, so keep that dollar amount in mind, and we'll see if it changes when we do some things. I'm going to go now to the mechanic, and let me just open this dialog. And if I click on resources, I've got a cost here of 0. And I can't change that in this window. So I'm going to cancel that. And I'm going to go up here to resources and maybe details. Let's see. Here's details for mechanic. And standard rate, I'm going to change him to $120 per hour. And let's see what happened. So when I opened that window, it did a split screen, and I can just double click here and get rid of the split screen. But something's changed. I'm not at 574,000 anymore. What it's done is it's taken my costs that I entered manually and it's added a cost for the mechanic at $960, and it's increased my total cost. Okay, so my cost has changed, and because I added dollars in for the mechanic, and let's see what else can happen here. Move to site is 1 day, and I've got a mechanic. So let's just open that dialog box, go to resources, and right now it's saying 100%. So maybe I think that one mechanic is not proper for moving this thing to the site. I probably need 4, so I'm going to put in 400%. And keep in mind it's 1 day, so I'll hit OK. And now what's happened is my duration has changed to 1/4 of a day. So by adding 3 more mechanics, I've changed my project duration, and I've kept my cost at $59.60. So you have to be really careful when I'll put this back to 100%. And now I'm back to 1 day. With resources, you can change the number of resources, but before you do that, you have to go to the Advanced tab, and here on Task Type, it says Fixed Units. So if I change that to Fixed Duration, then go back to Resources, and I'll change that to 400. Now I'll just open that again. Now my duration has not changed. I'm still at 1 day. My cost for my mechanics has gone down by 1/4. So it's not really giving me the information I want. I want to have the mechanics working at $130 an hour, and I want to have 4 of them. So it's dividing that amount instead of multiplying it, and it's just a little bit awkward that way. If you put in dollars for your resources, then it starts doing some unusual things that you may or may not know how to manage. And because of that, I tend to tell people to not try to manage resources in Microsoft Project, because it's too easy to miss what project is doing in the background and get you kind of messed up on it. All right, that's it for now for resources. Not going to go into any more with that. If you want to learn more about resource management, I've got other videos on project management that go into resource management. And like I mentioned earlier, it's a very important topic in project management. But in Microsoft Project, it's not a real big thing that you probably want to do in Microsoft Project. Okay, hope all that makes sense. And next we'll get back into costing And we can't actually do a lot with costing in Microsoft Project. We still have to be careful that we know what it's doing, but I'll walk through the steps of that. So I'll see you next time. Or actually, you'll see me next time. I won't see you at all. I'll just see my camera. Okay? Have a good day.